Okay, so these pictures, this is a very interesting thing. What do people think of this image?
It's very nice, I like it.
It's the kind of picture that could, yeah, it's the kind of picture that could be in a competition, whatever. So they asked me if I would do that. Just to remember, just when you do, there is something like out of the norm, that I look at that as a photographer, and I'd imagine most photographers would look at that and think that's quite a nice shot. And I was thinking very much about the mural in the background, and their response to me was, please could you get rid of the mural in the background? We like us. I thought that was quite an important thing to see. What?
You still have it in the veil.
Yeah, so whatever, you're right, that could have been done a bit better. But it was, there was enough for that. I told them it would be a little difficult, but they appreciated that. Anyway, this is also a example. This image was taken with my 85mm lens. The 1.8 worth is the $450 lens. This image, that lens is only able to focus at 85 centimeters. Yeah, so this ring from where I was standing was about 85 centimeters. So it's a nice image. This shot, however, is not really even cropped in. This is using a macro ring. Does everyone know what a macro ring is? I will show you.
Huge ring?
What?
Huge ring?
No, a macro ring is basically a device that puts more space between your lens and the camera. These are macro rings. You see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, how much this costs? This is the expensive one. It has autofocus runs through it. I only use it on manual focus anyways. It's not good enough. These end up costing, the manual focus ones cost about $15 for a whole set. Literally, they're nothing. And you can end up using your lens as a real macro lens. Without a good macro lens, you're looking at, $1,000. I mean, you could probably get it for less than $1,000. You're looking at a big extra expense. Plus, this can just fit in your pocket without any. It's a good idea to get a macro lens. It's written in the booklet, at the beginning of the booklet, about what macro lenses, what macro rings you can get, and they're very nice. They're good fun as well, and they're cheap, which is always nice in photography.
What does that do to the picture?
It allows me to get in so close that you can get, it's amazing how close. When you put more on, you can get even closer and closer and closer. It becomes like a microscope. It's quite amazing. Okay, just a quick example of how when the background has got a patch of stark white in it, how distracting that white is from the subject. You can't help, I mean, this is just, just got some people in the background, but at first glance, this image compared to this image, the flowers are just worth so much more, because in this image, we're having our eye really pulled away by this.
Whoa,
So,
welcome back.
Mazel tov. Wow, Kolaka, what did you got here? That's amazing. Okay, come in. So just go, this is just looking at the difference between the blob of white in the background and when we've got rid of that. This is also, who sees the difference between these two pictures? What's the difference?
This one pops out more.
Sorry?
This one pops out. The other
This
one.
one.
Yeah, this one pops out more.
Symmetrical background.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just paying attention to the background here. Even though we've got our subject completely covered by the darker area, just putting something central in the middle and taking care and noticing that kind of stuff aids the image. Okay, this is just, I wanted to show you, these were pictures. Oh wait, that one. Oh, they were just to show you the area where we were. This was literally a teeny little piece of grass in the middle of Ramat Gan. But by posing people in a way that you're blocking out a lot of the background and going down low, you can minimize the amount of distracting stuff in the background. This is just, I just had them doing something really stupid. And whenever you get noses involved, like you see the middle two girls are touching each other's noses, just looks a bit silly. Then a second later, there's always a burst of laughter, always. Anything to do with noses ends up usually creating some kind of laughter. This was just a nice pose that we had. Where does our eye enter? What's the point of entry?
The color.
Yeah, the colour probably, unless you're one of these girls. But the colour, what happens now to our eye?
It's down.
comes around here. This arm connects us in. These two girls holding the flowers here connects us back up. This arm connects us back round. And before you know it, it's a nice tight circle where your eye doesn't fall off in any directions. Take another picture, just everyone squeeze in. Remember, squeeze, that word just causes people to smile that little bit more, the word squeeze. And then once they're all in that position, then, this is so funny, then get them to blow a face, and look at this face, man. This is Mulch classic. Classic face. Anyway, this image was there to show you that even in the middle of Ramat Gan, in that teeny little place, by using a very, very shallow depth of field, it's not even my ultimate shallow depth of field, but 2.2, you're able, and by selectively choosing where you're going to stand, you're able to, this was the place, okay, literally, and she was standing over here for this picture, but you're actually able to really get away with it. This is one of the things that's done, what's happening here is what's called compression, okay? Compression is, let me just bring you an example, 1 second, that is part of the class anyway. 1 second. So compression is what happens. If you look at these two pictures, look at the difference here. What's happened here? This image is called compressed, and this image is called uncompressed. They're standing in the same place. Can everyone see the difference?
Yeah.
Can anyone articulate that difference? It's a bit, I know it's a bit kind of difficult. Let's look at a different issue, a better picture. Look at that speaker. Look over here in the background. Yeah, this guy is covered by a speaker. By compressing the image, watch what happens. They're standing in the exact same place. Look at the difference here. That image is uncompressed. Look how much of the background there is there. See how much background there is? A huge amount of background. Now this is a teeny little bit of background.
So you're gonna like move your camera up or down?
It's the difference between zooming in and not zooming in. If you think about it, if I zoom in or don't zoom in, I can have my subject appear the same size. I can walk back a long way and zoom all the way in and have my subject's head touch the top of my frame and my subject's feet touch the bottom of the frame, yeah? I could also walk all the way in very close and zoom out and have my subject's head touching the top of the frame and their feet touching the bottom of the frame, yeah? So what's the difference?
Wide depth of field in the second one.
So you get a wider depth of field, yeah. You also get some distortion as well. When you're zoomed out, you get a bit of distortion. But that to the side, that's true, but that to the side. What happens, just think of it in regards to lines, yeah? If I walk all the way back, and now I zoom in, my camera's trajectory, the angle of trajectory is like this, which means the background is just going to be a bit more, yeah? Whereas if I'm zoomed out like this, and I've got my subject straight in, now that means the angle of trajectory of the lens is going to bring in so much more information. So by zooming in, we do what's called compression, which means we minimize how much of the background is being shown, so we can do things like this. Look at the difference here. This is using it in a very practical way. That speaker is distracting. So by me stepping back and zooming in, the subjects appear to be the same, but what's happened is I've knocked the speaker out without having to get involved in Photoshop. You see the difference there? Yeah? So going back to our example here, we can just see that using compression, I'm at 85 millimeters. Using compression means that I minimize the background going on, and that means that isn't even compressed too much because it's only 85 millimeters. If I was zooming into 200 millimeters, number one, I'd have to get much, much further back. But that would also mean that my background would become even smaller, so you can get away with an even smaller space to take pictures in. With me?
In a sentence?
In a sentence.
Yeah.
compression, the way that we compression is moving back and zooming in. Okay? The more zoomed in we are with our image, the less of the background is going to be in our picture. Okay, so it's very, very good for when we're in a tight place and there isn't too much background to deal with, to walk back and to zoom in means that we're going to be only using a very small amount of background, which means you could potentially, in an urban area with just a little bit of shrubbery, you could make the place feel like it's very green.
But haven't we been doing that anyway? We always say try and zoom in.
Yeah, so we do, yeah. But it becomes more as your lens gets, the higher up, the more powerful the zoom of the lens, the more you're able to compress an image. But you're right, we've learned, that's what we've learned automatically, yeah.
Okay.
Go on, sorry, yeah.
No, I was just going to ask, with a wedding like this, do you have to go to the location before to, how do you know where you need to
At the
take
beginning,
pictures?
it's a good idea. I've been to, it's rare now that we go to somewhere that's new. It's not rare actually, we still go to new places, but once you've done it enough, you know, you need a 2-minute walk around. If it's a new place, I will make sure that I'm there a few minutes early and just have a quick walk around to see any problems that I need to deal with. This is an example, these are straight out of the camera, just the difference of the white balance here. This is on AWB and this is on cloud. Just can you see the difference there? Just that drop warmer. I also wanted to explain this area here was off of a highway in Beit Shemesh where it really didn't look like this. I mean, it did look like this because I took this picture here. But at first glance, it was just a row of trees where the only way this could happen was by having the colour walk in, so to speak, into the flowers. And I was stuck all the way in as well. And these images you can see over here, this area is already becoming like, by placing yourself in the right place, it looks like we were in it looks like we were in Gan Eden here now, the most beautiful place in the world. But it didn't look like that at all. It's just from selective. You need to remember, as a photographer, people have no idea what is 1 millimeter above here, what is 1 millimeter below here, what is 1 millimeter left of here, and what is 1 millimeter to the left of here. No one has any idea. There's a picture that I have of me from when I was in India. I was sitting there in the middle of it looked like I was in the middle of the Sahara Desert, literally. I was in the desert in India, yeah. It was like just sand dunes for as far as you can see. But what you don't know is that it was just at the end of like a shopping, there was, if you looked behind the guy taking the picture, there was like shops and people there selling drinks and stuff. And we're just at the edge. So it looks like you're in the middle of the desert. But in fact, you're absolutely not. So you have to remember that. These pictures here as well. This is an image here that I wanted to just quickly, this is straight out the camera. This is what I was talking about in the Gun of Radim, which was quite difficult. But now you can see in the back here, is this background the same exposure as the foreground? However, it's okay. Because the real problem with the background, it would be nicer if it was a little darker. We could make it a little darker. But this rule about the background being the same exposure and a different colour of the foreground means that you need colour there. The rule is to stop you from having white splodges. That's what the rule's about. Even if it's overexposed, but there's still colour there, that's done okay. If, this could have been a very light, it could have been a very light tree or something like that, whatever it is. But the point is that you don't have massive burnt out white sections.
Zoom this in more?
Sorry?
Why wouldn't you zoom it in more, just to cut out a drop on top?
Why wouldn't I zoom in more? I like all this feeling here. Let's see what happens. I prefer with the extra, this tree in the background is doing nice things emotionally to us. Okay? This was a cute shot just to show you how even a little set of stairs, that should be removed in post, but how a little set of stairs, just if the light's coming in the right way, can make a nice background. Just make sure that they're going to be straight. Okay? This is all natural light. This is not with a flash.
And you would tell them to sit, or because there's a little, you would put one there and then put their arms around each other.
So you have to engineer the situation that they're going to be able to be comfortable. So you may sit them down like this. These two kids here, they look cute, just sitting straight, looking straight on. Don't get too involved with posing and whatever. and then your goal is to distract them.
The other one when they were standing there, the arms around each other. With
That one, this, again, you can do like this. You can quickly run over there, drop the big boy's hand on the little boy's shoulder, and then you can say, give a hug, give a hug. He's only 2 years old, so it's so limited how much he can, he can understand. But kids understand, give a hug, give a hug. And then here again, what's the command that I said to them? Hold hands. Hold hands, very easy. Hold your brother's hand, go on, grab his hand. And you can talk to the big boy, he'll take care of the little boy usually. That's a nice shot. This was just an example of, in the middle of the shoot, the father or the mother turned around and said, oh, quick, look, grab that shot. I was looking the other way. So now if we zoom in here and crop in, we actually have a really nice picture of a little boy running after a bird there. That was just quickly turn around and snap. Okay, this is just a good example of the mother brought with the this, to blow some bubbles, and we tried, but it didn't work. And you have to be able to say, it's a really nice idea, but it just, occasionally you'll see these gorgeous pictures online of, with bubbles and stuff. A lot of the time it can be that it was photoshopped, and the other times when it isn't photoshopped are very lucky. When you get that lucky shot when all the bubbles just came in the right way and the wind blew perfectly and the light was perfect, etc., etc. So you have to be able to turn around to another and say, it's a nice idea and try, but it's not working, let's get on with something else. You don't want to spend too much time, spending half an hour trying to get bubble shots when you could have got some nice regular portraiture. Okay, I think that's it, yeah.